Good day, I'm Stephen McHugh, and this is your JIS News for Thursday, December 22, 2022. 47 of 52 government ministries, departments and agencies, MDAs, have received clearance for the payment of salaries under the new compensation system for public sector workers. Minister of Finance and the Public Service, Dr. Nigel Clark, made the disclosure during a press conference yesterday. He says quality control procedures are still underway for the other 5 MDAs, and those were expected to be cleared today. These include Bellevue Hospital, the Western and Southern Regional Health Authorities, the Houses of Parliament, and administrative staff at the Ministry of Education and Youth.
The Transformation Implementation Unit is still working on the remaining 5, and my expectation is that with the cooperation of these entities, they will also be cleared. And so the issues that have been reported on, the expectation is that they'll be resolved.
Dr. Clark says members of the TIU have been working long hours over the past 2 to 3 weeks to put the government in a place to implement the new compensation system. The process has involved the training of payroll officers by the TIU.
As far as I've been able to determine, there's no issue at all with what the new pay is. It's very straightforward to go from where you are in the old system to where you are in the new system. Where we have had challenges and where the training has really been required is in how you calculate the arrears that are owed, having agreed to have the new system be implemented with an effective date of April 1st of 2022.
Before the implementation of the new compensation system, the public sector had more than 325 grade levels and 185 allowances. The new arrangement is expected to greatly streamline the public sector. Micro and small enterprises, MSEs, have been given more time to apply for DBJ grant funding to scale up and grow their businesses. The DBJ has extended its application deadline for the Innovation Grant for New Ideas Entrepreneurship Ignite 4 from December 16 to January 6, 2023. Manager of the Boosting Innovation, Growth and Entrepreneurship Ecosystem BIGGI program, Christopher Brown, says the decision to extend the deadline was based on high demand. Ignite is part of the DBJ's BIGGI program, which is funded through a loan agreement between the Government of Jamaica and the Inter-American Development Bank. The grant funding is being offered to persons with novel and innovative business ideas in the areas of tourism and creatives, agriculture and manufacturing, technology, software and ICT, climate change, and gender. Registered Jamaican businesses can access up to $7 million under the program. They are encouraged to apply for an Ignite grant by aligning with one of the 7 business service intermediaries, BSIs, that the DBJ has working on the program. The BSIs are Jamaica Business Development Corporation, Sisters Inc. Jamaica, Technology Innovation Center, Caribbean Climate Innovation Center, Jamaica Manufacturers and Exporters Association, Kingston Creative, and TBR Lab. The Consumer Affairs Commission, CAC, is advising shoppers not to be misled by store signs that read "No refund, no exchange," as these hold no power under law. Communications Director at the CAC, Latoya Halstead, says this is due to the Consumer Protection Act, which gives customers the right to contact a seller if a product they have purchased is defective. Ms. Halstead, who was speaking at a recent JIS think tank, says the first step is for the consumer to contact the seller and explain what occurred. The seller will then need to address the issue by either fixing the product, performing an exchange, or refunding the customer's money.
My consumers, we have said this time and time again. Those signs are exactly what they are, signs. They hold no power. So no matter where you see those signs, you as a consumer should know that these are your rights.
As for signs reading, "If you've broken it, you bought it," Ms. Halstead says customers should be conscious of their responsibilities.
The fact is, you do have some stores with narrow aisles. And if you take your child in that store and you are not supervising your child and you allow your child to just run amok, you're at fault.
Farmers groups within the Kingston and St. Andrew branch of the Rural Agricultural Development Authority, RADA, are ensuring residents of the Maxfield Park Children's Home in Kingston can enjoy fresh produce this Christmas. The farmers' groups presented the facility with an abundance of produce from their farms on Tuesday. The donation includes bananas, plantains, pumpkins, avocados, sugarcane, scallion, thyme, grapefruits, oranges, jackfruit, rosemary, carrots, lemons, fevergrass, limes, sorrel, and more. RADA's acting parish manager for Kingston and St. Andrew, Erard Stevenson, expressed delight that the gesture, which is usually an annual effort, is now back in full swing after being halted due to restrictions during the COVID-19 pandemic. The crops were grown in the hilly areas of communities near the Blue Mountains with little or no use of pesticides. The facility's manager, Renee Tuckett-Palmer, says the donation will result in huge cost savings for the home as the staff prepares to take on the big cooking at Christmas time. In addition to the farm goods, the farmers also donated toiletries, clothes, and toys to the home. RADA Kingston and St. Andrew is also assisting the Maxfield Park Children's Home with having a fully functional backyard garden where they can grow crops throughout the year. This is hoped to also inspire the practice of farming among staff and the approximately 80 residents. And finally, Christmas has also come early for 80-year-old Pauline Forbes, who received a new wheelchair from the Registrar General's Department, RGD, and Food for the Poor, FFP Jamaica, on Tuesday. Mrs. Forbes, who is an amputee living in the community of Brandon Hill, St. Andrew, expressed gratitude for the generous donation. She told JIS News that she lost her legs from a series of ailments, including high blood pressure and diabetes 4 years ago, and was happy to receive the assistance from the RGD. The executive agency recently revised its core value to RGD Cares, and Chief Executive Officer Charlton McFarlane says that it was Parish Officer for Kingston, Tamar Blake, who identified the need for the new wheelchair when she went to Mrs. Forbes' home to conduct an on-the-job interview. Ms. Blake was gathering information for a customer who was applying for a certificate of late registration. Having learned of the need, Mr. McFarlane then reached out to Food for the Poor for assistance in acquiring the wheelchair. RGD CEO also handed over an additional birth certificate for the son of the geriatric nurse who is caring for Mrs. Forbes, as well as a marriage certificate for one of her children. And that's it for JIS News Today. I'm Stephen McHugh. Thanks for watching.